It's 6:50 a.m. in a small apartment in a growing city. The sunlight hasn't fully filled the room yet, but the alarm has already gone off. A young professional sits at the edge of the bed, scrolling through their banking app before even getting up. The number on the screen isn't impressive. It's not inspiring, but it's real. And in that quiet moment, before emails, before meetings, before the noise of the day begins, there's a simple question forming in their mind. Am I actually getting closer to financial freedom or just staying in the same place? Because what most people don't realize is that wealth isn't something you suddenly reach one day. It's something you move through, step by step, level by level. And if you understand those levels early, especially before 40, you don't just earn money, you build a system that changes your entire life. The first level of wealth is survival. This is where money is purely functional. It comes in and it goes out, usually just fast enough to keep everything running. Rent, groceries, transport, bills. There's little left over, if anything at all. At this stage, your focus is not on building wealth, it's on avoiding collapse. One unexpected expense can throw everything off balance. And because of that, financial stress becomes a constant background noise. It influences decisions, limits opportunities, and creates a cycle that feels difficult to escape. But here's what's important. Survival is not failure. It's the starting point. And the habits you build here, whether it's tracking your expenses, avoiding unnecessary debt, or simply learning discipline, will define how quickly you move forward. The second level is stability. This is where things begin to feel manageable. You have a steady income. Your bills are paid on time. There's less anxiety at the end of each month. You might even have a small buffer in your account, something that gives you a sense of relief. For the first time, money is not just about reacting, it's about maintaining. But stability is a dangerous comfort zone because it feels like success. And for many people, that feeling is enough to stop pushing forward. They settle into routines, increase their lifestyle slightly, and stop thinking long term. The risk here is not failure, it's stagnation. Because stability without growth keeps you in the same place, just more comfortably. The third level is control. Yes, this is where your relationship with money fundamentally changes. Instead of wondering where your money went, you know exactly where it's going. You have a system, a budget that you actually follow. You're not just earning, you're directing. At this level, you begin eliminating bad debt, building savings intentionally, and making conscious financial decisions. You're no longer reacting to money, you're managing it. And that shift gives you power, because control over your finances translates into control over your choices. You start realizing that money is not just a resource, it's a tool. And tools, when used correctly, can build something far greater than their individual parts. The fourth level is security. This is where the pressure begins to lift. You have an emergency fund that can cover months of expenses. Yet you're insured against major risks. You're prepared for the unexpected. But more importantly, your mindset changes. You're no longer making decisions out of fear. You're not worried about every small expense. You have breathing room. And that breathing room creates clarity. Because when you're not constantly stressed about money, you can think bigger. You can take calculated risks. You can plan beyond the next month or the next year. Security is not about being wealthy. It's about being stable enough to start building wealth without fear holding you back. The fifth level is growth. This is where wealth actually starts to build. Saving alone is no longer enough. You begin investing. Your money enters systems that can multiply over time. This could be the stock market, real estate, businesses, or even developing high-income skills. At this level, time becomes your greatest advantage because of compounding. The earlier you invest, the more powerful the results become. But growth also introduces risk. Markets fluctuate. Investments don't always perform as expected. And this is where many people hesitate. But those who understand this level don't chase quick wins. They play long-term games. They focus on consistency, diversification, and patience. The sixth level is acceleration. This is where things start to move faster. Your income increases, either through career growth, business, or multiple income streams. Your investments begin to generate noticeable returns. You're no longer just building, you're scaling. At this level, the gap between effort and reward begins to widen. The systems you've built start working more efficiently. But acceleration comes with its own challenges. Lifestyle inflation becomes a real risk. As income grows, so does spending, often without intention. And if not managed carefully, this can slow down progress significantly. The key at this stage is discipline, because the faster you grow, the easier it is to lose control. The seventh level is independence. This is a major milestone. Your investments are now generating enough income to cover a meaningful portion of your expenses. You're not fully free yet, but you're no longer fully dependent on your job. This creates options, and options change everything. You can choose to take risks, explore new opportunities, or even step away from things that don't align with your goals. Independence is not about quitting work, it's about having the ability to choose your work. And that shift from obligation to choice is one of the most powerful transformations in the entire journey. The eighth level is freedom. This is what most people think of when they think about wealth. Your passive income fully covers your lifestyle. You no longer need to work for money unless you want to. But here's the reality. Freedom is not about luxury. It's about control. The ability to decide how you spend your time. The ability to say no without consequences. The ability to live life on your own terms. And interestingly, many people who reach this level continue working, not because they have to, but because they choose to. Because when money is no longer the goal, purpose takes its place. The ninth level is abundance. This is where wealth exceeds your personal needs. Your income streams are diversified. Your investments continue to grow. Money is no longer a concern, it's a resource, a tool. At this stage, your focus often shifts outward. You start thinking about impact, about building businesses, supporting others, creating opportunities. Abundance is not just about having more, it's about doing more. And reaching this level requires more than financial intelligence. It requires vision. Because without direction, abundance can be just as limiting as scarcity. The 10th and final level is legacy. This is the level very few people think about early enough. It's not about how much you have. It's about what you leave behind. Are you building something that lasts? Are you creating systems, investments, or structures that will continue to generate value beyond your lifetime? Legacy is about long-term thinking. Yes, it's about understanding that true wealth is not just measured in money, but in impact. And the earlier you start thinking about legacy, the more intentional your decisions become. Now, here's the reality. Most people never move beyond the first three levels. Not because they lack intelligence or opportunity, but because they lack awareness. They don't see the bigger picture. They earn, they spend, they repeat. Without a clear framework, progress becomes random. And when progress is random, results are inconsistent. Understanding these levels gives you direction. It turns your financial journey from something reactive into something strategic. Another common mistake is trying to skip levels. People jump into investing without building stability. They chase high returns without understanding risk. They focus on earning more without managing what they already have, and when things go wrong, and they often do, they fall back to where they started. Wealth is not built by skipping steps. It's built by mastering each level before moving to the next, because each level prepares you for the challenges ahead. Time is one of the most powerful factors in this journey. The earlier you start, the more flexibility you have. Compounding works best with time. Small, consistent actions taken early can outperform large, inconsistent actions taken later. But even if you're starting later, the principles remain the same. Discipline, consistency, strategy, these are timeless, and they apply at every level. There's also a psychological side to wealth that often gets ignored. Each level requires a different mindset. At survival, you need resilience. At stability, discipline. At control, awareness. At growth, patience. At independence, courage. And at freedom, responsibility. If your mindset doesn't evolve, your finances won't either. Because money amplifies behavior, doesn't fix it. Income plays a critical role as well. While managing money is important, increasing your ability to earn accelerates everything. Skills, career growth, and business opportunities are not separate from wealth building. They are essential parts of it. Because the more you earn, the more you can invest. And the more you invest, the faster you progress. But this only works if income growth is matched with financial discipline. And then there's the reality of setbacks. The journey is not linear. There will be unexpected expenses, market downturns, career challenges. There will be moments when it feels like you're moving backward. But these moments are not failures. They are part of the process. The key is not to avoid them, but to navigate them without losing direction. Because long-term success is not about perfection, it's about consistency. If you look at people who achieve significant wealth before 40, you'll notice something different about them. It's not just that they work harder, it's that they think differently. They understand these levels, even if they don't consciously label them. They focus on building systems, not just earning income. They prioritize long-term growth over short-term comfort, and they remain consistent, even when progress feels slow. And so when you think about wealth, don't think of it as a number. Think of it as a journey through levels, each level with its own challenges, its own lessons, and its own rewards. Because reaching financial freedom before 40 is not about luck. It's about structure. It's about understanding where you are, where you're going, and what it takes to get there. And the most powerful part of all of this is that no matter where you are right now, the next level is always within reach. Not through shortcuts, not through overnight success, but through deliberate, consistent action over time. Because in the end, wealth is not just about how much money you have. It's about the life that money allows you to build, the choices it gives you, the impact you can create, and the freedom to live on your own terms. And those who understand this don't just chase wealth. They build it step by step, level by level, long before they ever turn 40.